Greetings to my team of 144, all Starseeds, Lightworkers, and Wayshowers. It is 88-2019, 11:33 a.m. Happy Diamond, Lionsgate portal. Bear with me, brothers and sisters. I am in an altered state right now. After going deep into meditation, after the last few days of being bombarded with this fiery energy, these intense fires, these flames burning up the old, burning up the false. The crystal children came to me in my dreams last night, and they brought with them these healing cotton balls or sheets of cotton. Some people may know what that means. It reminded me of the bruja that talked about that the shaman would have them sleep in the trees in these bags that are full of cotton, so that soft cotton surrounded their bodies like a cocoon. There is a reason for them to be lifted off of the earth with this soft feeling around them. Now, a bruja is like a sorceress. You know, there's the brujo and the bruja. Brujo is the male shaman or sorcerer, and the bruja is the female shaman, medicine man, medicine woman. And I've been with them all. I may jump around a bit here because as this energy is coming in, my consciousness is jumping multiple timelines. I'm trained to do a quantum jump into any timeline in the infinite multiverse. So I'll try to remain as congruent. There's many things I need to discuss. Now these crystal children, many of them have come to me over the years. I have a deep connection to the autistic humans, the children and the adults, the autistic, the people with Asperger's, the autism. A gentleman came to me the other day that was upset. I didn't even know this guy. He just came into my shop and we were talking about his daughter that was autistic, and he was upset because it seemed like she was getting worse. I think she's like in her 20s. I haven't met her in the physical. We've connected in the 5D, of course. And he said, her fears, her anxieties. He said she was either afraid of dragons or buffalo or something. I can't remember, but this fear was coming up, and I could see this heavy weight on him. And I let him know that not to worry because the autistic children are already in 5D. I don't even know if this guy knew anything of these concepts that I teach or talk about, but I just let him know that it's the autistic kids. They're already in 5D. It's the humans that think they're smarter, more intelligent than the kids with autism. They just don't realize that they're in the higher dimensions already, and their avatars are still playing out the last of the 3D. So I let him know that, kids like his daughter are going to be the teachers, the leaders of the new earth. They are the wayshowers with their childlike nature, their joy, their love, and no filters. That's one thing you see a lot. That's what I love about them. The filters are for the birds. So a few days later, he came back, this gentleman, and his daughter gave me 3 crystals that were encoded with her light codes. He didn't really know what it meant, but he brought me the crystals, 3 of them from his daughter, this crystal child, and 2 of them I gave to the crystal children, one to the 2 crystal children that are in Las Vegas, and then I gave the mother, the divine goddess, my most powerful crystal I've worked with for many, many years. So those are being encoded into the field in Vegas, Nevada. Well, I'm holding the codes in Cleveland, Ohio right now for the moment until the 15th. And to tell you the truth, speaking from my heart, that the 15th, it's been prophesied, my full mission will be enacted or transmitted. Now, every moment we're in this constant state of flux now. The changes are happening so quickly, so frequently, and the synchronicities that we're reaching that 0 point, that tipping point. And the 15th, I will put my full essence, my full energy, my chi into the grid, into the field to assist all of us through this shift, through this event, Now, I can't say what's going to transpire. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if my avatar, this physical form, this vessel, is going to be able to withstand the full assault of the Nawal. I believe it will. I believe I have faith. I have faith in the Great Spirit that will help us through this transition. But either way, whatever happens after the 15th, I don't know if this avatar does not dissipate, or merge with Gaia's energy. I may start walking to Ecuador. I may go live in my teepee in Leroy Township on a place called Pain. That's seriously what it's called. Some things I'm going to reveal. My grandfather was Joseph, my grandmother Mary, but my parents in this timeline were not who you think they were. I can't reveal everything right now, but let us jump into this timeline again. Years ago, speaking of altered states, that movie I saw when I was about 9 years old, Altered States. It shifted my perception, caused a tremble in the inner core of my being. And when I was around 22, I built a sensory deprivation chamber in my mother's basement and used it for many years. It's the flotation tank. In all the years I've offered many people to use it, only one divine goddess was brave enough to do it. The divine Greek-Irish goddess that dances with the stars, that protects the children and the autistic humans of this realm. Used it several times. It's like a mini dark retreat. The Taoists do retreats in the dark, total darkness. I've done 24-hour dark retreat and shorter ones, but sometimes they'll spend 24 hours meditating, or 48, or a week, a month, a year, depending on what their mission is in the pitch black, for shifts in consciousness to bring in new codes from the higher dimensions, from source. Now with this final mission, and the final mission doesn't mean the end, and if someone says the end of the world, the world is created by man. The earth was created by Great Spirit, the Holy Spirit, Mother, Father, God. The earth will go on, and what we call New Earth, what we call the world, was the construct of the Matrix. So I just want to clarify that point before I go on, that once we shift to New Earth, the construct will change. It will be from the false 3D to the divine 5D. And the grid is already laid over the 3D as a foundation. All the years of suffering and torture and pain were not in vain. I was over at a place called Pain Falls a few days ago, and I was going to record a live transmission from the falls, and I was prevented from doing it, so maybe in the future I'll be able to, because it's a powerful vortex. It's where I may put my teepee, down the street, not at the falls. I can't do that. It's public land, unless if after the shift there's no longer a public and private go away, because we're all sovereign beings and the land is for all beings. Now last night, as these fire energies were tearing me apart, my brother came to me and said that him and his friend, his son and our friend's daughter, are in band together in high school, in a band. This is just a quick story. I'll try to make it quick, because I'm going to post a video sometime in the near future on here, because the energy of it was very intense. The joy, it was like the shift from fear to joy in 100 crystal children's voices will hopefully come through in the video, if I'm able to post it before the 15th. But I saw in my mind's eye, as he was telling me what was going to happen, I saw it unfolding, and it did happen exactly as I saw it in my vision. But him and his friend were going to dress up in Star Wars gear. Our buddy's this huge, big guy, 6'5", 350 something pounds, big guy, and he was dressing up as Darth Vader, and my brother as the guy all in red. They're huge Star Wars fanatics. I saw the movies as a kid, and I enjoyed them, but it's not a big deal to me. But to them, they collect all the figures, and this guy has like full costumes from the movies and stuff. And it's 1144 1144, and the rate of this video is 44100. The band teachers are in band, like in high school, or the bands that play for whatever, concerts and football or whatever. They're in band camp right now, and the band leaders got them raise funds so that they can go to Disney World next year and play in the band. Their band can play in some parade and whatnot. So they were going to reveal this surprise to them. And they came up with, they were playing the music from Star Wars. I think it's like the Imperial March or something, like dun 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 dun. And we had a smoke machine, and they were telling the kids. They didn't tell the kids that this happened. What they did was they told them that something bad happened, like the custodian found something and they were all in trouble. And then, they had this whole thing set up, and I was there to film it for them. And I wanted to experience it too, because I knew that what was going to happen. So they locked us in this closet. It was a big closet where they keep all the instruments, and the kids were out, and they brought them in. And what they were doing, they were telling them that they were in big trouble. And then the guy would turn the lights off, the band leader, and we'd come out of this room, my brother dressed all in red. I think it's like the Imperial Guard. People that are Star Wars fans will know, like, they were in full out with big robes and the masks and lightsaber and a big staff. It was quite hilarious, and it was funny because our buddy, that's this big guy, like squeezing into this Darth Vader outfit. My brother was like, "This is like an episode from Family Guy." I guess they had an episode where the father dressed up like Darth Vader. It was so they're all dressed up, and we can hear them out there. We had this smoke machine, and they said when we start playing this, they had it over the loudspeakers. Dun, 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 dun. We were to come out. So we hear, the guys reprimanding them, and you guys are in big trouble. And then the lights go out, and we start hearing the music. Dun, 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 dun. So I kick on the smoke machine, and the guy turned off the lights. So the kids were like nervous, like, what the heck's happening here? And we opened the door, and I'm backing out, and there's over 100 kids in this room. They just start screaming. They thought it was like demons coming out, and here's through the smoke is these two big guys, like this Imperial Guard, and he steps out, and then Darth Vader comes walking out with this lightsaber. It was quite a hilarious moment, and the kids were screaming. I mean, it was they thought demons were coming out of the closet or something, and then all of a sudden they realized that, okay, something's going on here, and they just got riled up, and they walk around the room. My brother and our buddy is these two characters from Star Wars, and the guy revealed, as Darth Vader, the Force is with you, and you're able to go to Disney World. And the kids, just out of joy, kids, of course, they're excited to go to Disney World or whatever, just flipped out. And I got it all on film. I'll put it out there. But the energy of, 100 of these crystal children, I know several of them, and they are angelic beings. Just to hear the joy of them cheering and clapping and screaming and laughing, and it was quite a moment. It lifted my spirits for a moment, because I knew that that energy of all those beings of joy, and then after it, the excitement of the kids was really phenomenal. So I'm going to post that video on the channel here soon, just for you all to feel that energy. Hopefully I can get it up before the 15th. I don't know. I'm very limited on time right now, between work and between these transmissions and everything else I'm doing. My practices, the arts, the Qigong, the Neigong, the Shengong. I have to practice every day to prepare for the 15th, for the final push, the final countdown, the breakthrough. Now I can't say for sure what's going to happen, but I'm going to do my best to help with this event energy. The harmonic convergence and the full moon are on the 15th. So people all over, love workers all over the world are going to be putting their light into the grid. So I know it's going to be, I can feel it already. Emmanuel is with us. Archangel Michael is to my right. Crazy Horse right now is to my left. They've been with me since I can't come into this avatar, since I manifest into this vessel on 5/10/1973, 5/10/73. 5/10 is the same birthday as Sri Yukteswar, the living master, and Guru Raj, who wrote the book Babaji about the living master, the living avatar that's in this realm, that's been teaching humanity to free themselves from the Matrix, which is my mission, is to help humanity free all beings from the prison of time, from the prison of the false 3D Matrix, as all of you are on mission too. Anyone that is listening to this transmission right now, this is your mission. You know you came for this. We are fully activated now, and we are here to transform and transcend this realm. Emmanuel is with us fully now, the light of the world, the Christ consciousness. And we're on our way home, brothers and sisters. I know we've traveled a long, long way from home. But we are returning. We're returning home, brothers and sisters. Because we've been in the darkness and the light has come. The light is with us. The light is with us. The Holy Light, the Holy Spirit. We're returning home, brothers and sisters, to our true home, to our true self, to our divine heavenly place. This memory was coming to me of many, many years ago, around 1989, when I was about 17 years old or something. I was on a Greyhound bus. I jumped on a Greyhound bus by myself to travel from Cleveland to Florida to visit some friends. They sent me a ticket to go down there, and I had to get out of Cleveland. I had to get out of the chaos, the suffering, the torture. And I love Cleveland, even though it's one of the most negative portals on the world. It's also some of the greatest beauty. I had to go to the highest mountain in the lowest valley. I had to experience the greatest pleasures and the greatest suffering and everything in between to help humanity with this transition, this transmission from the old to the new, breaking free of the chrysalis. I know many people that might be listening to these videos for the first time might think I've gone over the deep end, or might think I've gone crazy, and that happened years ago. Our Sifu. Now, Sifu, I have to explain this to people because I assume people know all these concepts and these words that I use. I haven't been able to leave Cleveland for about 5 years now to hold in the grids here in the portal. But after the 15th, no holds barred, I will be able to either start walking to Ecuador or flying to the eagle flying with the condor, the eagle of the north flying with the condor of the south. I see myself creating a temple, a castle for the 3 feathers, the 3 crystals. And some of you will know what that means. I can't reveal everything right now. I've taken certain oaths and certain vows that I must keep. So Sifu, S-I-F-U, means teacher in Chinese. So Sifu, Qing Feng Dao Shi, one of my teachers, my last teacher, Rainbow Body Master, Qing Feng Dao Shi, meaning in Taoism, and the Tao is the way. It's a Chinese religion. In China, they have 3 major religions: Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. And Confucianism is, some people, is more of a philosophy than a religion, but whatever. It's studied as one of the great religions. The Taoist, T-A-O, pronounced Tao. T is kind of like a D, pronounced a D in Chinese. And the Tao has been loosely translated as the way. The way in, the way, the truth. And then in Buddhism, I've trained with several Zen masters back in the 80s and 90s. One was Sensei Ogoi from Japan. And I trained with him in the Zen temple, Buddhist temple. Now, I never became a monk. As a kid, watching Kung Fu, I wanted to be a Shaolin monk when I, grew up or whatever. Some of these things, as a child, watching Bruce Lee movies and Kung Fu, that Eastern philosophy really resonated with me. And I took Chinese for, back in the 90s, the language, and then eventually ended up with several masters from the Japanese lineage of Zen Buddhism. Now, Zen means meditation. Zen, it's a meditation, an experiential form of religion, of practice, spiritual practice. But I never became a monk because I did go to a monastery, and I had this vision of, becoming the Shaolin monk with the shaved head and, sitting in full lotus for days at a time. And you go to the monastery and you start, reality sets in. And when you hear that the vows are that you can never be intimate with a woman again, I said, no, sorry, that's not for me. I thought, this is very cool. I did train with the Zen masters and sat in full lotus for hundreds and hundreds of hours over the years, but I was just as a lay, they call it a layman, where you still have your normal life. You don't take the vows of celibacy and all these other vows, and live in the monastery and practice every day, and which was cool. I had many friends that were monks over the years, and Roshi means teacher or master in Japanese. Trained with Kongo Roshi, Edo Roshi, and Daido Roshi. Kongo is diamond. And then Sensei Ogoi, who was a Shin Buddhist and a Zen master. He was Dharma brother with, many of you have, I'm sure, heard of Shunryo Suzuki. He wrote one of the best-selling Buddhist books on Zen Buddhism called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. He had many students over the years, many well-known teachers and authors trained with Shunryo Suzuki. And Dharma brother means they had the same master, the same teacher. They trained in the same lineage under the same master. I forget who his name was. It's been a long time. I think it was Mazumi or something like that. I can look it up, but Shunryo Suzuki. So Sensei Ogoi, there's two of the main Buddhist practices in Japan is Shin Buddhism from Shinran, and then Zen Buddhism, where there was Rinzai and Soto. I trained in both of the arts, Rinzai and Soto. Rinzai uses koan, Soto's like sitting in stillness, polishing the mirror. So the Shin Buddhism, in Buddhism they say, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. And many Buddhists, especially laymen, believe that when you pass this realm, if you have the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha in your consciousness and your awareness, that you will be reborn in the Pure Land or in the land of enlightenment. And the Shin Buddhism is the Pure Land sect, and they take refuge in the Buddha of infinite light and infinite life. They say Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu is the mantra. I chanted that mantra thousands and thousands of times over years ago. Now I teach a Taoist tradition called Kunlun from Sifu Max Christensen from primordialalchemist.com. He's Ching Feng Dao Shi, which means pure wind, man of the Tao. And I've trained with him over 9 years and been teaching for about 5-6 years. And I just have a small dojo now, so I'm very limited. But after the 15th, I might start teaching through Skype again. We'll see what happens. I'll let everyone know. I'm not sure. Depending on what happens on the 15th, I'll let everyone know what my next step is, what the next mission. I'm not sure if it'll be the final mission, but most missions, when they end, a new mission begins. So we'll see what happens. Just keep living in the heart. Keep walking your path with heart. And we are fully activated. We are fully on mission. Many of you are feeling it right now. Many of you are feeling the energies, the full lion energies, the lion heart, the heart of fire, the heart that is the fire that you are burning from within. Now there is a power in the silence, so part of meditation is going into that stillness, silencing the mind. Don Juan used to teach Carlos Castaneda that he wrote a book called The Power of Silence, which was a great book, which talked about how the world is manifest with our thoughts, that our thoughts are what keep the construct of the matrix together. To free yourself from the world, you go into that stillness, the silence that's within, that still center within, where there is no thought, that's beyond thought. You become the witness, and then you are freed from the world. Many of us come back to the world to finish our missions, to learn, to expand consciousness more, to, I've been through the void, I've been in the void, I've been to 4D, 5D, been to the other side, higher dimensions, other realms. I've spent 30 years training with many masters to get to this state where I'm able to do this final mission impossible. But it won't be the first time I had to break the laws of physics for humanity, for life. Not that I'm anything special. This isn't from the ego. This is coming from love. What I can do, any human being can do, but even greater. It's Yeshua Christos, I call him, as the teacher, as my brother of the light. See, many people think that I'm not Christian. They'll say I'm a heathen because I teach things outside of the Christian belief. But like I've told people in the past, I am everything and nothing. I don't call myself anything. I teach a Taoist art, but I don't call myself a Taoist. I was a painter, a sculptor, made Native American flutes. Started drawing when I was about 4 years old. Started painting when I was 6. I did my own rendition of Starry, Starry Night in first grade. I came into this realm with certain knowledge. I knew about reincarnation and all these philosophies. No one ever even had to tell me about it, but I knew I didn't want to be in this realm. I mean, there was great beauty, and I, loved as best as I could and as best as I can with this avatar, with my heart. And the only reason I didn't, I'm going to jump to a different timeline here. I'm going into the stillness now. I knew my mission from a child. I didn't know how it was going to unfold or what would happen. Many, many things have happened since I was a child, and there were many, many obstacles, and there still are obstacles. I mean, that's what the path to success, the path to freedom is laden with many obstacles. I know we want it to be easy. We want it to be simple. The truth is easy. The truth is simple, but sometimes the transition, the transmission, the road has many obstacles. But we are on mission. We are with the courage of the lion from our hearts, that no matter how much fear comes up, no matter how uncomfortable we are, we're going to do it anyways. We're going to push through. We're going to break through. We're going through and through and through until we totally break through to the source, to the freedom, to the peace, to the peaceful kingdom, to the new earth. Whatever is left of the veil is totally lifting now. There is no longer any separation. The separation is in our mind. Our mind is creating the separate state of the world. The world was created by man. The Great Spirit created the earth realm, this divine matrix that was corrupted and converted as an experiment of suffering and pain and duality and conflict. But that experiment is ending. It has ended. We are releasing what is left of the old false 3D matrix. And this Lionsgate portal is a catalyst. It's an anchor point into the harmonic convergence on the 15th, where we will be fully activated. Like I said, we are fully activated now, but there's still a few things that have to be done. There's still a few things that need to be released, some energies, some entities that are being dealt with right now, which I'm not going to speak about at this time, because it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter what is going on in the field. What only matters right now is what is going on within you, within ourself. This is self-realization, our true self, our highest self, which is the infinite multidimensional self. Anything you can imagine is true. So imagine what you want this new earth to be. Imagine what you want to manifest into this realm to help with this transition, and then just keep anchoring your codes into the grid, into the field. Keep transmitting your love and light as best as we can into the consciousness of the earth, into Gaia, into the field, bridging the rainbow bridge. The rainbow tribes are gathering. We're coming together in 5D, which will then merge with the 3D energies, which will then manifest the rainbow codes fully into this realm. So thank you everyone that are on mission. Thank you everyone that are shining your light brightly into the night, into the darkness, where I am reaching out for you. The Great Spirit is reaching out for you. The Holy Spirit is with you now, divine brothers and sisters of the light. Namaste. Aho. All tribes are coming together. First transmission, I'm going to do a couple quick transmissions from Maria Nessa for the Lionsgate portal. The Lionsgate portal is here. Welcome to the grand event of the Lionsgate portal. Dear ones, may all awaken to their divine soul path and experience the divine calling. Embrace the universe as new codes of rainbow light and wisdom dawns. Celebrate in your knowing that you are strong and powerful beyond measure. May the sacred keys of love and light embrace all on the planet as joy is bestowed upon all. Through all streams of rainbow light, abundance flows to each one and all. In love and service to planet Earth, Maria Nessa, N-E-S-A. Below text from Celia Fenn. The Lionsgate portal is guarded by two of the royal Syrian lions, who are known as the lions of yesterday and tomorrow in the sacred texts. They are the gatekeepers that ensure that only those who are grounded in the present moment and conscious of their path are able to transit through the portal and create another cycle of life in a conscious way. They are not only guardians, but also teachers who work with the angels and archangels to guide those who are ready in their journey of awakening and creation. The Lionsgate portal begins to open on the 26th and reaches the full aperture on the 8th of August, or 8/8, under the constellation of Leo. Thereafter it begins to close and is completed by the 12th of August. The 13th of August is the celebration of completion and movement forward, as the planet is now under the guidance of the Royal Lion Star Teachers of Alpha Leonis, the heart of the lion, who guide the Earth through the Virgo constellation and towards the equinox in September. This will be a powerful time, and indeed you will be called to enter into your full power as masters of light and creation, and embodied souls in human angelic bodies. Celia Fend. So as I was jumping timelines, I just returned to another timeline. I'm sorry, brothers and sisters, I'm doing the best I can. But I jumped back to the timeline. I started telling you about this journey I made. There was a synchronicity along this journey. It's 12/12 now. The Virgin of Guadalupe. Magdalene energies are coming in fully. The Divine Mary, the Divine Virgin Mary, the Virgin of Guadalupe, the Goddess Energy, Kuan Yin, Avalokitesvara, the Bodhisattva of Compassion is coming in fully now. Put your hand to your heart and feel the Divine Goddess Energy coming in now fully. Gaia energy is fully activated. We are being fully activated with Gaia as we all transition, as we all transcend, ascend into 5D and beyond, into the infinite dimensions, merging all into this now timeline in your heart center. But when I was a child, about 12 years old, after one of the last assaults, when one of the Dark Ones, the reptilians, tried to take me out of this realm and caused a shift in my consciousness, a split from this side to the other side as my life passed before my eyes. From that moment on, I walked on the razor's edge between form and emptiness, between manifestation and the void. And it was a slippery slope, brothers and sisters, to make it this far. But after the event that occurred, that annihilated what was left, I walked into a bookstore, and this book pretty much about leapt off of the shelf to my consciousness. It was like Angels, ETs, and Dolphins, something like that, by Timothy Wiley, that really changed my life. Brought me down that path of these metaphysical concepts. And then around 17, 18, I started training with the Buddhist masters through connection with my friend Bob, that was a Tai Chi master, teacher. I had a tea ceremony for him. I didn't see him for like 20 years, and several years ago I did a tea ceremony for him, his wife, and his students. I do ceremonies of the 5 elements of tea, which if we make it to Ecuador, I'll be doing ceremonies for you all there. It's called 5 Elements Gong Fu Tea. Our Sifu is a tea master. I've trained with our buddy that has now started a tea farm, Jeffrey. Three Treasures Tea down by Asheville, North Carolina. He bought an old house with a lot of land and is growing tea to bring that tea energy to America. You can visit him. He said the town he moved into, I spoke with him the other day and got some of his high quality tea that he's not growing. He's in the process of growing it, but he's getting some tea from ancient tea families in China. So I'll let you know when he will be selling his tea on his website. I think it's 3treasurestea.com or something like that, but I'll fill you in the future. But he moved into a town which was a population, he said, of 3. There's 3 people, 3 families that live in the town he lives in. I can't remember what it's called. So this book, let me look it up real quick so that you know. I'll put a link in the description. Yeah, Dolphins, ETs, and Angels by Timothy Wiley. That was one of the first metaphysical books that I read. I was about 12. I started reading when I was about 3 years old, and I've read thousands of books over the years, from everything from Native American history, religion, spirituality, books, Buddhist, hundreds of books of Buddhism, metaphysical books, books on quantum physics, you name it, astrology, astrotheology, linguistics, symbolism. My bedroom is like the Library of Alexandria. I joke with people. It's like, really, I mean, I've always slept amongst the books. When I was growing up, I'd read 5 books at a time. Not at the exact time, but I'd read one book and then another book, and you get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm scholarly enough. Like our Sifu says, you don't want to be too scholarly. You don't want to be totally ignorant, but you don't want just all book knowledge. It's like reading 100 books on guitar, but you can't pick up a guitar and play it. It's like, that's fine and that's nice. That's nice to have the knowledge, but the experience of playing the guitar is way more fulfilling than just knowing, harmonics and the circle of fifths and theory and the 5th major of the 7th scale, whatever. I've been playing guitar for the last few years. One of my best friends is a virtuoso and a chess master. Hopefully one day I'll get him on the show, because he's also read thousands of books, and we've had hours and hours of discussions about many metaphysical things. He's the one that turned me on to William Dudley Pelley years ago, and I take a class with him one day a week in guitar. Have a couple of classical and a flamenco, which I've always loved, classical guitar and flamenco. But I play different things. I'm not a great musician. I don't play out or anything, but just for myself. And I've always loved the instrument and loved music. So we are now in Time as Art. And I spent many years, I did portraits, I painted, I was a sculptor. I make the whistling vessels. There's only a handful of people in the world that have the knowledge of the ancient shamanic, they call it Peruvian double-chambered whistling vessels, and I was taught by Spirit how to make them. I just don't have time right now I was a starving artist for many years, a photographer, painter. I won a gold key when I was like 17, 18 years old at the Cleveland Institute of Art, but I could have had a free ride to the college, but I was done with school. I wanted to drop out like in 6th grade, but forced myself because I didn't want my grandmother to jump off a cliff, She would have had an internal combustion if I dropped out of school. So I made it to a senior and then was done with school forever. My school is the woods. My school is the temples, the nature, Gaia, the mountains, the valleys. I've trained in the mountains, I've trained in the valleys, and everywhere in between. I love it all. I love the oceans and the sky and the clouds and the trees and the insects and the birds and the mammals and the reptiles and the snakes. I love them all. I've had a love affair with Gaia for most of my life. I love the bees and the birds and the whatever. I'm just not too fond of mosquitoes and ticks. Hey, I can't love everything, No, I love them. I just don't be biting me. That won't go over too well. some energies might jump in that might end things real quick. I never know what's going to happen. So on this back to the timeline, sorry, this is going a lot longer than I thought or hoped, but these last energies, I just want to tell some of the last story of one prophecy as part of this final mission that was activated by a gentleman when I was on a Greyhound bus, one of the Divine Crystal children on the last night that they were here, the 3 feathers, this precious angel of light. She wanted to give me this bracelet that was inside the heart, and there was like a fortune inside the heart with the bracelet, and she wanted to give it to me as a gift after I gave her the crystal from this other the autistic child, the crystal child, to this crystal that's now in Nevada for a moment. And the fortune inside said, "You will find friends sometimes in the most unexpected places." And there I was in an unexpected place to find these friends and beloved beings. So I look back at my life, and it was like the teachers, the masters, always came up at the most unexpected places. So one was on a Greyhound bus, and it was on the way actually back to Cleveland. And I'm 17 years old. I have long hair down to my waist and wearing a fringed leather jacket, like a Native American jacket with shades on, and sitting there on the bus, and this gentleman comes up to me with these big, like, Coke bottle, thick glasses, and he's just looking at me. This guy ended up being super psychic. And he sits down next to me. He was like in the back of the bus, and he comes up to me and he started telling me a story, and he said, "I had to come up to you because I know that you are a prophet." And I just laughed, and I had zero self-esteem at the time. I thought I was, I don't know what I thought, but at the time I said, "Nah, I'm no prophet. I'm just a simple man just trying to survive in this crazy world." And he just laughed, and he said, "Yeah, you just don't know yet." And he said, started telling me about his psychic abilities and visions he's had, and we had a really amazing conversation. And he was someone else that said, I've never told anyone this, but he talked about an experience he had where he went into the light and connected with Source or whatever. I can't remember the exact story. That was over 20 years ago, 27, 20, 30, I don't know, 29 years or more. But then I pulled that book out, the ETs, Dolphins, and Extraterrestrials, and this guy like flew through the book in like an hour. The book was like 280 pages, 300 or more, something around there, and he was just saying that there was something in the book that shifted his awareness, that had changed his life. And they said, just reminded me that I was going to change the world. And I thought, yeah, sure thing. I can barely even walk down the street without getting into some kind of trouble. I was a rebel without a cause, but I did have a cause. The cause was to annihilate the Matrix. And at the time, I was very angry for years and years of torture and trauma, and then self-torture, self-abuse. That's what brought me to the masters, to the shamans, the healers, the sages, the Zen masters, the Taoist masters, Qigong, Neigong, Shengong, Shaolin, Kung Fu, to lead us to where we are here now today on this Lionsgate portal of 2019, 910, 1112 on the 1212, the 222 on the 888. And yesterday's transmission, I talked about the blue mist that William Pelly talked about in his near-death experience, or out-of-body experience, whatever you want to call it. So it's very synchronic with today's Mayan code, which is the blue magnetic hand. And the blue mist is what carried him to the other side, or to the higher dimensions. And one of my friends that taught me an art, a certain Qigong, he has a transmission for the blue light, the blue wave. And the code, the mantra, as you breathe in the blue light and say to yourself, "With my inner conscious mind, I breathe the blue light into my DNA here and now. You can write that down. You could see the blue light coming into your DNA. Go to Google Images and type in blue DNA and you'll find images. So with my inner conscious mind, I breathe blue light, blue waves, blue energy into my DNA here and now. And this will help with the transition from the double strand to the 12 strand crystalline DNA. Today's Kin 27 blue magnetic hand will help with that process, with that energy. So from the Dream Spell Journey by Valon Votan and Balon Ilk, welcome Wave Spell 3 of the Blue Hand. Unify in order to know, attracting healing, power of accomplishment. The Blue Hand Wave Spell is the third wave spell of the Dream Spell Journey, and also the third wave spell of the Red Eastern Castle of Turning, which is the first castle of the Dream Spell count. The Red Castle represents the Court of Birth, and it covers the first 4 wave spells of the Zolkin: Red Dragon, White Wizard, Blue Hand, Yellow Sun, equaling 4 times 13 equals 52 days times 5 castles equals 260 days Zolkin. The Blue Hand wave spell relates to the universal symbology of the hand as a divine channel of healing. Reiki, laying on the hands, the Hamsa of the protection, amongst others. In the same way, the use of open hands during meditation represents a receptive state of being to the divine knowledge. The hand symbolizes the sacred cure and wisdom that liberates our spiritual conscious in order to understand our life's purpose in this dimension. It all contributes to the existential state of self-realization. Who we are, where do we come from, where are we going? In the Dream Spell count, the Blue Hand is the solar seal number 7, which is associated with color blue, being part of the blue root race of the spiritual transformers. The Blue Hand has the action of knowing, the essence of healing, and the power of accomplishment. By being the Seal 7 and the bearer of the third wave spell of the Dream Spell Journey, the Hand wave spell relates to the divine number 3, which is part of the Fibonacci sequence and the mystical number 7. The bearer of this wave spell is Kin 27 magnetic hand, a number which contains the power of 3 cubed, 3 times 3 times 3 equals 27, and the power of 9, Balon Tiku, or the 9 Lords of Time, 3 times 9 equal 27. The power of 3 relates to the mystical number in Kin 33, which is part of the wave spell and represents the combined signature of the archetypal mother and father of Dream Spell. Valon Votan, Kin 11 plus Balon Ilk, Kin 22 equals the original source of 33. The power of 9 symbolizes the solar consciousness based on number 3. 3 times 3 equals 9. Therefore, this wave spell contains key numbers of the Galactic Maya cosmology, 3, 7, and 9. Today's Kin 27 also marks the Lionsgate portal on day 8 of month 8, 8-8, giving place to a perfect nested synchronization. Kin 27 is also marking the 14th day of the wizard year, which is coded by Kin 14. Aho, 1414. 8 August 2019, NS1.32.1.14. Kin 27, Blue Magnetic Hand. I unify in order to know, attracting healing. I seal the store of accomplishment. With the magnetic tone of purpose, I am guided by my own power doubled. Harmonic 7, Lunar Store. Remember elegance of challenge. And there you have it for the day of 8-8. Breaking all time loops, freeing ourselves from the loop of false time as we transition into art is time or natural time, the laws of nature. So please leave a comment below this video on what you're experiencing on this Lionsgate energy. I know it's intense for many because these waves are fully coming in now, the lion energies. The king of the jungle, the king of kings, Emmanuel, is coming in fully now, lifting all of humanity. We're in the time of what some may call the rapture, which I have a different philosophy than many of our Christian brothers and sisters, which I believe all life, all of humanity will be saved. Because we are all one, there is no separation. Anyone that believes that it takes the belief, it's someone's belief to be healed, to be saved, to be freed. There's some truth in that. The truth is that there is a power to belief, but it doesn't, like the Zen master will say, no matter how much you love a flower, it withers and dies, and no matter how much you hate the weed, it thrives and flourishes. Because there's natural laws. It doesn't matter what you think or believe on some sense, but obviously there's a power to belief. Believing is seeing sometimes. But then there's times where someone doesn't believe something and they experience it and they say, I can't believe what I just saw. And it's like, well, did you see it? Now do you believe? That's the paradox. That's where this debate goes on. That, believing is seeing, or seeing is believing. Or emptiness is form, or form is emptiness. So there's truth to all things. There is true. There's only one truth. And that is, I am that I am. The one truth that I and my Father are one. Or I and my Father, Mother, God are one. That is the truth. That never changes. The still white magnetic light at the center of your being never changes. That's how you know what is true and what is false, or what is real or what is an illusion. The illusion changes. What is true, what is real, never changes. Not that the illusion is bad. I mean, we manifest the simulation, the illusion, to experience whatever we want to experience, or have experienced, or will experience. So that's why words, I know I'm chattering on here, and some people get annoyed by the words. It's like, come on, where's the action? But when it's time for taking action, I take action. There's times for speaking, there's times for silence, there's times for doing nothing, and there's times for doing everything. And that's why I say I am everything and nothing. We are the void, we are the emptiness, and we are the form. You're an infinite multi-dimensional being. There is no limitation. The only limitation is in the mind. The mind created a limitation to experience certain laws of physics and certain manifestations. But your true self is infinite. It is all things. In this current story, in this current path, things may resonate and some may not. Lemuria may resonate with you, Atlantis may not. That doesn't mean you're not Atlantean. That does not mean you're only Lemurian, or you're only Andromedan, or you're only an Earth being. And on this day, on this holy sacred day, many people are realizing their infinite multidimensionality, that there is no limitation, that there is no conflict. The conflict we created, the conflict is in the mind. The mind sometimes gets in the way, and the mind sometimes enhances our experience, or makes beauty out of something that may not even be there. And that's why you hear some people say the ego is good, and some people say the ego is bad. Now, does the ego serve you, or does it hinder you? That's what I asked. Is the I am presence, is the I that is here now in this body, is it bringing you love, freedom and peace and joy, or is it bringing you suffering and conflict and disconnection? We are all connected, but we can experience the disconnect when you feel alone, when you feel lonely. And that's when the Great Spirit brings in entities and energies to show you that you are never alone, or that you are always alone. Sensei Ogoi would teach us, there was a koan he gave us that was born alone, gone alone, come alone. And after many, many hours of Zazen, sitting in full lotus in the stillness, I gave him an answer, and one day I'll give it to you, but not yet. So born alone, of course we come into this body alone in our mind. People might try to debate and say, well, you weren't alone, your parents were with you. But I'm talking about consciousness. I'm talking about you and your mind. Your pure awareness came into that alone, that one awareness. Gone alone. Some people say born alone, die alone. The death process. No one goes on that journey with you. That is a journey that you take alone. Now, I know some people say the angels are with you, this or that, but I'm talking about your consciousness, your pure awareness. Of course, the angelic realm is always with you. Your higher self is always with you. Your guides are always with you. Sometimes you experience them, sometimes you're not. But in that aloneness, in that oneness, you realize that there is only one, and that would be alone. Alone. I am a loner. That's why many of us starseeds are loners. We're lone wolves. We walk alone many times. Sometimes we come together, sometimes we walk alone. So it's the come alone that is the trigger point. Where are you coming to? Where do you come? Before God, before truth? Do you come to this point here now in time in this body? Born alone, gone alone, come alone. When are you going to return? When are you going to come home? Can you do it now? Or is it sometime in the future? There is no future, so it can only happen in the now. But what now? This now, or this now, or this now? Ah, God, I love you.